We're here Tuesday, February 4th, with Joseito and with his memories of family members in Cuba. First question, info on, tú no te acuerdas de eso. Okay. What do you remember about Otto and Acela? What do you remember about Otto and Acela?
Oh, they lived together with Candy and Tio Arminio there at the house. And Acela, for many years, she was living there with the mother, and Otto too. And Otto, I see him a lot of times, Otto, but he never sit down at the table to have food together with the mother and father and visitors. No, they gotta take his food to his bedroom. Yeah.
How come?
I don't know what happened. That's what I hear. They used to drink a lot years ago. But I never saw him drinking or anything like that. But Herminio, Becerra, and my tia, Candida, and Acela, we sit down how many times breakfast together. Breakfast lunch. It was a breakfast lunch. Okay? They like to, they buy me all the time because I used to get ice to have, we don't have no refresh, but Candida and Herminio, they had everything. They had television, they had refresh, they even have a telephone and all that in the old days. They got everything. And they had a nice home right in the town of Cruces. And they just give the house to him to live there for free. You know, he lived there for free. It was a beautiful home.
Given to him by work?
But after he retired, he had to give up the house. But that happened, when that happened, I was here in the United States. But he had the house for a long time. Another thing too, I went to their house in, ¿cómo se llama el pueblo ese
¿Cruce?
No Cruce, el otro.
¿Encrucijada?
Encrucijada. I went to Encrucijada. They lived there in Encrucijada before they moved to Cruces, okay? And Herminio works there in Encrucijada, and then I guess he got promoted, and then he went to Cruces, okay? But I went to the house over there when Migdalia and Pepe, they got married. Okay, I remember that. I went with my grandmother in a train, the train like the Sting, you know, like in the Cowboys' day, the old train.
Like a state passenger train?
El train, I went with my grandmother for the wedding of your parents. I remember that. I was a little boy, but I remember that. And they had a beautiful wedding, and the wedding was at their house, and they had a beautiful cake, you know, beautiful cake. I never forget that. And I had some of the cake, and I remember that we went to see the house they're gonna live after they got married, because what happened, Pepe's father, he was wealthy over there in Encrucijada in Cuba, and they own La Casa Grande de Encrucijada, and they sell everything there, and they even have a maid at the house and all that. And then Pepe had his own car, and the kids all the time, they used to dress pretty well, and they used to come after that, they moved to Cruces, they used to come and visit their parents, Migdalia, and all that. And I used to go and sit down in the porch with Tio Herminio, you know, and looking at people passing by, because the house they have, it was close to the post office. It was pretty close to El Prado in Cruces Las Villas, Cuba. Okay, I remember all that. And then I was kind of afraid that Tio Arminio, because anytime he see me far away from the town, he find me, and he had one of those little cars. They go in the train track, and because they go inspect the railroad, and he see me, and then I was far away from there, and he will tell my Amparo, my grandmother, and
Get Joseito.
they say, "Get home, Joseito. What are you doing way down here in the campo here?" Yeah, and they used to see me getting sugar cane out of the train, and he don't like that. And then he tell my but anyway, and then my tia Candida, when I used to go to her house, she used to smoke, and then she gave me 10 cents. 10 cents, American money, Cuban money was 10 cents even. The money was even in that time. And she said, "Go bring me a pack of cigarros, Trinidad y Hermanos, those cigarettes made in Ranchuelo, Las Villas, Cuba, Trinidad y Hermanos, okay?" And then I bring the pack of cigarette, and she hides it. She had like a apron. She have an apron. She put inside the apron because she smoked hiding from Herminio Becerra. Okay. And I remember when I used to go and spend vacation with your grandparents in Cuba. Yeah. And I used to play with Pepito. Yeah.
Do you remember the way Casimiro and Herminio used to get along?
No, not really. No, I know. You know, Pepe, not the father, Pepe, the one and only Pepe. And then Pepe, when he came over, Pepe came here to the United States, I the one that got him a job in a body shop. And poor Pepe, he was a wealthy guy in Cuba in those years, and he had to start from the bottom. And then I got him a job in a body and fender, and they put him to sending the paint from the car. It was a body and fender job.
Labor work.
And labor work.
Yeah.
And he used to be all full of dust and all that. Because anyway, he works there. And after that, I don't know. And then I took Vidalia to get a job in downtown Los Angeles. Because I remember that, because I started driving when I was 16 years old, and then I took Vidalia to places in downtown, and she don't want to do in sewing, but I don't think she never got the job. She after that she was doing more like sewing in the house and doing babysitting, you know, child care.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, what's the other question?
Okay, you remember how Amparo and Candida used to get along?
Oh, they get along, Candida and Amparo. You know, they're sisters, and then and there was another sister too, Tia Jesus, and then and the other sister, I can't remember her name right now, but she lived in Cruces. And she went to Havana, and I used to go see her in Havana.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of these things I cannot ask nobody, because the only one alive and remember all these things is me, because all the other rest of the people already passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's good to get all this information.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we're trying to do.
It was Tia Angela.
Oh, that was the other one?
Yeah, Tia Angela. She looks something like my mother. She have because she was like a little dark color like my mother, because Tia Candida was más blanca. You know what I mean? And Tia Jesus was really white.
Right.
Yeah, Tia. And then they had a brother, and the brother was Castro. His last name, Lázaro Castro.
Okay.
And he moved toward the area Camagüey, and he had a lot of kids. Yeah, he had a lot of kids.
Do you remember their names?
Well, I remember their name, like Pastor, another one called El Niño. Anyway, and then we had a primo que era mudo. Yeah, we had that was hijo de Tía Jesús, and he looked like Pepe. It was really white, looked like Pepe and tall. Él era sordomudo.
Okay.
Y tenía el pelo colorado.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pepe Camps.
Yeah, Pepe, yeah. And then their family was, they have red hair. In the Castro family, there was a lot of people, real white people. And then they came, the parents, they came from Canary Island.
Okay.
Yeah, isleños.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't know about Tío Herminio, where the background, but I know about the Castro.
Okay.
Because my grandmother told me many times, and that from Islas Canarias.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You remember about how Candida and Herminio got along?
Oh, they get along pretty good. Yeah. I never saw them fighting or anything like that. Yeah, but Tío Herminio, he, I respect him. You know what I mean? In the old days, people have more respect than now. You know what I mean? Because now, I see young kids that tell even the teacher, "Fuck you." You don't see that. You don't see that. Not in those days.
Yeah.
No,
remember
because I worked for the school and I saw that happen even to the principal kids and telling them, you don't have no respect. Yeah.
You remember about Herminio and his friends?
Well, I knew some of the Becerra. They used to live in another one. They have brothers. He had brothers or not, but I don't know too much about them because I was younger too. Because I left Cuba when I was 14, and that was in 1960.
Okay.
Yeah. 1960, I was 14. Yeah.
I think we covered everything. Thank you very much, Joseito.
Okay. Yeah, keep that in record because we cannot ask anybody other question because my mother's not alive and Rolando's not alive.
Yeah.
A lot of those people, all the old timers, they're gone.
Yep.
The new generation is taking over now.
That's why we're going to ask you more questions in the future.
Okay.